Let me begin with my definition of cosmos. There are several ways to define this entity that I consider to be the all. Some equal cosmos with the universe as we observe it, and some add innate properties to it. Since some speculation also include several universes, a multiverse, I say that cosmos is what includes all, seen and unseen, within and without our range of observation. Cosmos is, in my definition, the all, the world in its absolute totality. Since I also consider the cosmos both timeless and infinite, as I've said before, in every known and unknown dimension it goes beyond every concept we may invent or imagine, yet the inquiring human philosophizes. Cosmology and ontology are two fields of philosophy that deals with the origins of the world, and with two somewhat different perspectives. Cosmology seeks to explain how the world, the universe, the cosmos came into being, as well as how it works on a large scale, where it meets physics. Ontology, on the other hand, is a branch of metaphysical philosophy seeking the roots of being. In this sense, it also addresses the question of possibility and necessity. It develops into an abstract scientific philosophical approach to being itself. Thus, cosmology and ontology meet at the most basic question of all. Why is there anything at all? Cosmology tries to reach back to the beginning of everything, but faces a paradox in trying to go behind what lies behind the behind the behind. That is to say, it faces the problem of what was before the beginning of the beginning of the beginning, a perpetuum. On the other side of ontology, we seek to understand why the world, why the cosmos at all exists. Is it just a possibility that happened to realize itself, or is it a necessity? Once a human mind tries to think about necessity in this respect, it also faces a limit, that of the human mind itself. How may human thought encompass such question within the limits of its concepts? As humans, and particularly as we stick to a physicalist approach to the world, we remain speculating within our conceptual frames. Even though we may reach into the nature of matter, all the way down to the quantum level, we remain dumbfounded. There is a level that we cannot reach by physics, by physical instruments and methods of observation. The cosmos is just too vast and also too small. Therefore, the path from the end of the observable inevitably becomes the philosophical speculation, including both cosmos and ontology. Let me take you through a few cosmologies from the past and up to the present. The most ancient cosmology we know developed in India around 1600 before our era, and it is described in the Rig Veda. It holds that the cosmos is unlimited and cyclical, that it recycles itself in periods of 4.32 billion years, breathing, so to say, the breath of Brahma. This might be probable, and had the cosmos or the universe within it been limited, then an unlimited cosmos cannot expand and retract. Yet the idea gives some traction to the modern Big Bang theory. About 1,000 years later, we see the teachings of Mahavira, saying that the universe is uncreated and has no beginning or end, being eternal. This is the view of Jainism. About the same time, 6th century before our time, Sankhya developed a model containing two elemental prakriti, matter, and prashusha, consciousness. This is the first model I know of, separately defining consciousness. It holds that matter, in its purest sense, is becoming the world through 24 stages. It is also precise in stating that nothing can be created or destroyed by nothingness. In my view, this cosmology barely misses the connection of placing Purusha at the source of Prakriti. I will return to this. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras held that there is a central fire in the universe, that everything rotates around. Considering a non-physical fire, it might be understood as the universal consciousness. But there is little to support that this was his view. From here, cosmology revolves for more than 1,000 years around the idea that God is running the world, and the Earth is the center of the universe. This goes all the way on to Copernicus' time, but before him, Giordano Bruno had a view that angered the Church. He rejected the hierarchical universe, considering cosmos to be atomistic, animistic, and intelligent, adding that this divine intelligence permeated so also that every living creature was a part of God. I will return to this too. From the Renaissance on, the sciences of astronomy and physics steps in and new theories develop. In the 1920s, Macmillan put forward a steady-state theory saying that matter is created from radiation, particularly from the stars. A few years later, Lemaitre launched the first Big Bang theory. New ideas of a pulsating universe reflects the ancient breath of Brahma, only to be eclipsed by new ideas that matter is created by nothing out of nowhere. Today, cosmologists mostly stick to the Big Bang theory, while being spooked by the mysterious dark matter and dark energy. Considering the long history of cosmological speculation, it is my opinion that we have an almost standstill philosophically in despite of the modern advances. So, what about the ontological approach? Philosophical ontology, is a serious mixture to wrap your mental arms around. So I will limit myself to that which has to do with the present topic. Also with due respect to Aristotle at the origin of our philosophy. I will chronologically start in the opposite end, close to the present, and be more brief. It was not until the 17th century it was coined by Wolff as first philosophy, a philosophy of first things, of origins. Modern ontology has become divided into a number of fields and turned into a world-splitting science. I do see no reason to bring all that into this title. Ontologia means the science of being, and that is where I would say focused. The central question is, why being? It reflects the cosmological question, yet on an immaterial level. Thus, leaving aside all the special ontologies, we need to approach the central metaphysical ontology of being, existence, essence, of body, of consciousness, God, and the world. Modern ontologies still discuss the same basic questions that surfaced in antiquity and carried through the ages to present-day philosophy. To start where we are, the world exists. Therefore, it is obviously a possibility. But is it also a necessity? Back to this issue. For us humans, in the world is necessary. But are we necessary, hence, or only a possibility come true? What could possibly necessitate the human being and the world where he exists? The religious ontologists would say, because God will it. Yet that is not very persuasive, for what about God? Is the existence of God a necessity? We have no clue as to whether he exists at all, possibly unseen. An ontological question will address the question regarding the necessity of God or gods. Can the world exist without God? If we distance ourselves from the religious, we may ask whether the world may exist without consciousness. We might postulate that a world without consciousness, even such limited consciousness as the human, could possibly exist, but there would be no way to confirm it. Therefore, some consciousness must be necessary in order to observe a possible world. Is this where we are today? As I said, I will return to Sankhya and Bruno. When it comes to the former, there is only one knot that was not tied by him, namely how Purusha sits at the root of Prakriti, or in our language, how matter is based on consciousness. Sankhya never states that Purusha is the power driving Prakriti through the 24 tattvas, principles to manifestation. Yet he is so close that I cannot avoid thinking that maybe he did. Returning to Bruno, he saw the all-permeating intelligence, consciousness in my language, at the root of the atomistic animate world. He saw intelligence building atoms of matter and life. He obviously understood that consciousness is at the core of being. Consequently, that the world is panpsychic and hylozoic, that God is in and all and everything, and that cosmos is alive. Modern cosmology and ontology are self-bewilderingly standing in mud up to the knees. Academic philosophy and science, when it comes to the issue of that which is beyond measure, is stuck in a physicalist view. There is no first cause behind first cause, for there is no such thing. Consciousness is at the root of all existence. Beyond time and all spatial dimensions remains elusive, for it may only be reached through itself and by unscientific methods. I hold through my personal approach that the world is panpsychic and hylozoic, through and through alive and living, without beginning and end, eternal and limitless. The light and life of cosmos is only seen through the mystic approach, unempirical, non-religious, unbound by concepts, and by seeing beyond seeing.